Hello, hope this is working. I'm at a completely temporary place right now, and so I don't have my normal equipment. You need to tell me if you can hear me here on the stream, and if it's loud enough, because I'll have to figure that out on the end. So I'm seeing some of you already in chat. Give me a second. So I don't have my normal equipment. You need to tell me if you can hear me here on the stream, and if it's loud enough. All right, so there's that. How's it going? How's it going, everybody? Little temporary thing. I'm seeing a bunch of people you in the chat here. I'm going to jump in and say what's up here in a second. Yeah, not too long ago, changed up venues, situations. I'm in multiple situations, actually, to be exact. That is that's the Gemini way of life. By the way, it's the Mercury and Gemini way of life. This whole background's going to change here again, probably tomorrow. I don't know. But saying that, I'm going to talk about the new moon in Scorpio, which actually is going to happen here in about 4 to 5 hours as I make this video. I was doing some traveling, wasn't able to put up a weekly. I go, hey, let's do a live stream. Let's do it. And I thought this was a good moment to do it because I'm a balsamic type of person. And what I mean by that is we're right before the moon phase, before the new moon, where things are ending. And the darkest of the dark, might as well do a new moon in Scorpio live stream video and see what happens and what the hell comes out of my mouth. So there's that. Thank you in chat. I'm going to get to this here, but you're saying you can hear me. I think it's loud enough. It's really weird not to be able to hear my voice in my headphones, all this stuff. I just need to be able to pull this off. I'm going to pull up the chart here in a second and talk about some other things this week. I think, I don't know how long I'm going to go tonight, but I'll also have some other things that comes up about goings on with me and some things I've done lately that maybe you'll be interested in about. So saying that, thank you again for being here. A lot of times I talk in the beginning here, these live streams, because it takes a little bit for people to jump in who are getting notifications on their phone, on their apps or whatever else, so on and so forth. So while I do that, I am going to say hi to everybody in chat. I'll pull that up here in a second. Let's do this. Somebody came in earlier. Somebody was earlier on this chat that came in when I posted this. I think it was, I can't even see who it is, but they were hours ago, and I want to thank them for that. And I didn't even start my live stream yet, and Steffi G here has a super chat donation on me here. So that is an amazing way to start a live stream for me. As in someone who just ran around and did errands and used some gas. So there's some gas money. Steffi G, thank you so much. I'll see, I got a reply to this. Oh, it says I can't reply to it anymore. I appreciate you. And channel member, along with Dora Destroy, who says they're back, a channel member. That's good to see you and have you here, Dora. Mani is here. PayPal link doesn't work. Okay, let's see what's going on with that. Oh, it does. Oh, I know why it doesn't work. I will remove that. And yeah, so I'll throw that up here in a second. Let's see if I can, I'll put that separate here. I might as well do this now. I got a Venmo link in there. I'll go like this. Let's see if it lets me do both. I'll just do this one. And it helps me pin things. Where did it go? Where did my comment go? Hold up a second, people. Unpin message. There we go. And then I will do this all over again. There. Should be. I'm like a freshman in high school right now because I'm in a different situation. There is a pin link. So saying that, I want to say hi to Mani, to Water Trine Mystic, who's a channel member. You see the gold wings here up on the screen. KP1231. And is here. Good to see you. Ray Faye from Oz. Good morning to you down there. Scorpio Muse, a channel member. Blessings to you, Scorpio Muse. Misty, you can hear me fine. Thank you. Thank you so much. Laura Fisher, good to hear from you. See you there. You wouldn't believe it. Recently, I was running through Skid Row. I drove past Skid Row the other night. That was a trip, which is interesting. That's a little side message for somebody. I was going from one place to the other and caught that. Autumn, good to see you here. They finally made it to a live stream. Thank you, Autumn. I'm glad you're here. Patrick, good to see you, Patrick, who's a channel member. Hello to you, along with Susie's here. Black Moon Jesus, what's up? And Astrologer Mackenzie, hello, Mac. How are you? Isha, hello, almost new moon. Oh, happy new moon, almost. Yeah. So yeah, thanks y'all for jumping in. Again, it's gonna be a little different for me because how I'm used to doing this. So give me a second here as I look at things. I need to rearrange something on my end. It's gonna be like that. For me, stuff you can't see. Let's jump in here. Okay, look at this is what's happening here. It's 28-degree new moon in Scorpio. You can see it's like I pointed to Mercury first, you know, which is so dialed in on this thing, on this lunation. But basically, you can see a 28-degree new moon that's happening. And if you're paying attention here on the screen, you see Mercury's involved in this. I'm going to see Venus is involved in this. And the ruler of this, and the weirdest things because of aspects that are happening, is Mars and Sagittarius here. And I'm going to get to that. I want to point something else out if you don't know, is that here is Uranus at 29 degrees, Neptune at 29 degrees, okay? And so here we have that, which is connected because Uranus is opposite all of this, and Neptune is trining this, okay? We have that. We cannot forget that Jupiter is in on the game along with Saturn because right now they are trine each other, and a fabulous aspect for most, well, depending who it is. I'm going to talk about some other thoughts I have about the astrology that's going on right now, but I'm pointing out the aspects here that are going on. You see Jupiter is also trining the moon and the sun and Mercury, and so is Saturn, and so is Neptune. And so we have a lot of water here, but we have the lightning bolt of Uranus on the other side of this, and we have Mars fueling the whole lunation, which isn't really making any aspects other than eclipse ones because it is squaring the north and south node. So it's wild to me. This particular lunation can be looked at in so many different ways and talked about in so many different ways. In one sense, it encompasses the astrology of the year, and in many ways because of what we did at the beginning of this year when Neptune and Saturn were in Pisces, and we were doing the beginnings of eclipses that were happening here in Virgo and Pisces. Uranus was in Taurus back then, right? The only difference is here is Jupiter was in Gemini, right, as we have over here. The other thing is we were dealing with a Pluto that's there in Aquarius. So it's funny. It's sort of a backtrack to mostly to the beginnings of the year. Now, immediately wise, in the more immediate sense, hello, Violet at Cantu Boutique. I see you here. You're going to lay down before you fall over, okay? Thanks for joining the live stream. But I think what's most important here to look at is, well, at least I don't think it's the most important, but hold up. I got to do something here. So there is Mercury. And, you know, Mercury here is pretty much conjunct the sun, and it's going into the heart of the sun. I could give you the exact time here. Mind you, I don't got my normal setup here, so I got to do the research here. When I was looking at the sun Mercury conjunction is going to happen at 1:23 a.m. on November 20th. So Mercury's pretty much moving to the conjunction here, but it's doing it in a balsamic way now, and then in a new moon way before it hits the sun. So there's a massive movement here of Mercury going into Scorpio yesterday for the third time at 20, or second time at 29 degrees. It's going to go all the way back to 20 degrees. We have a movement that's hitting sun, moon, and eventually the end of this week, Saturn and Jupiter again, and Neptune. It's pretty interesting. Now for me, and by the way, for those watching, just to confirm again, you let me know if you can hear me and everything's coming in correctly here, or correctly, not incorrect. Well, if it is coming in correctly. For me, Mercury's the player here. And I talked about this in the last month here because of what Mercury has done. And first of all, to do something here, let's look at the ephemeris here. I'll just pick Mercury only here. I'll just do this right here. Let's see if I'll pick there. Let's see if this pops up on the screen. Here we have on October 28th of 2025, 27th to 28th, that's where Mercury was last at 28 and 29 degrees Scorpio. When we got to November 6th and 7th is when it stationed retrograde. And so basically here we are here on the 18th. It's hard to see on the screen here. We're at 28, 29 degrees yesterday, and we're going to go all the way back. It's going to hit this spot again the week of December 8th, where we'll go 26, 27, 29 degrees Mercury in Scorpio. So we're at the second hit of all this, okay? So let's get that in our minds. For me, I feel that this lunation, we are fortunate to have this lunation towards the end of the year because of the review processes that is happening with the Mercury retrograde, but how it's pretty much tied into almost every single planet here. Let me remind you, there is Neptune, there is Saturn, there is Uranus. Jupiter is in on this, okay? So, you know, in the background, we have Pluto sitting there in the background waiting, you know, waiting, because it's just forward now. It's not retrograde anymore. It's waiting for everything to catch up when we get into next year, the beginning of next year. The clarity that Mercury and Scorpio brings here is, I think, profound. If you're one of these people who have degrees at the anaretic degree, or 28, 29, or even 0 degree cardinal, anything at those degrees, regardless of the modality, this is an important lunation. I think Mercury here is very clean and discerning, even though it's retrograde. So never mind the fucking Epstein files or the massive Microsoft server DDoS that's happened in the last 24 hours and Cloudflare going down. I got to see everybody talking about this, and it's total Mercury retrograde stuff, right? I've seen so many people in the last 24 hours launch plugins and updates and stuff for music gear, for all launching gear. I've seen this stuff, and I'm not going to judge whether it's the best place or not. Time will tell, right? But I think Mercury's strong in this one. But it's the discernment here of Mercury and Scorpio in the second time, and its movement here with a new moon and going into the sun. I feel that brings clarity to a Neptune and Pisces situation from the last 14 years, clarity with a Saturn and Pisces situation for the last 2.5 years, clarity for a Uranus in Taurus transit that's been happening for almost 7 to 8 years now. We're at the last legs. We're at the last legs of Saturn, Neptune, and Uranus here. And Mercury's tied in on this lunation, and I think in a very pure, clean place. And it's the type of discernment and it's the type of clarity that you want. But it requires, and I think many people have already maybe done this the last several weeks, because it was it was like a month ago, when it was more than a month ago, when Mercury first entered, when it first entered Scorpio, it was part of a lunation that happened that was square Pluto. And I'll put this chart up here because we could do it quickly. We might as well just do it. I'll put this up on the screen, volume low. I'm sorry, that's the best I can do tonight because this is it. So you're gonna have to turn up your volume. Let's see if I can bump it up a little bit more. Yeah, might be the best way I can do things. Give me a second. No, that's not going to happen. I'm assuming my voice is synced up. Honestly, I can't do this right now. I'm not going to be messing with this shit. So, let's see. Let's see if I can get it up a little bit more. That might be, you let me know if this is good enough. I might do that. You let me know. I'm not going to mess with this anymore. It is what it is. So, basically, where the hell is my... I'm going to put right here the ingress of Mercury. Actually, I'm going to go back. Here is, in this chart, is this the one? No. There it is. Yeah, this is the full moon that happened on October 6th. And here was when Mercury first entered Scorpio, where it was square Pluto. And so basically, the whole mercurial thing that's happened here, even with Mercury going to Saturn, the retrograde we're doing now, was launched off with a Mercury square Pluto aspect. So is Pluto involved in the current lunation? In a sense, it isn't, but it is, in my mind. I think it's imprinted itself on Mercury, and I think it requires, Pluto has asked for the deepest and coldest and harshest of truth to be unearthed from the underworld and to be seen. And it happened during an Aries full moon, okay? And I made a video about this, and I said, don't get caught up in this and having to like talk shit or to pontificate in the sense that you should look at the Mercury cycle of Mercury in Scorpio and Mercury in Sag all the way in December with the type of thing where you are basically gonna lay low and go back into the truth kind of thing. So saying that, it's the kind of situation where you should take your time and not get caught up in drama. But if you notice in the last, let's say we're dealing with a month and a half now, that we've had a lot of this kind of inflammation of the word, especially when we did a Mercury-Mars conjunction in Sagittarius. We did this thing. We have stuff in the news. We have files. We have votes. We have non-votes. We have debate. We have pontification, exaggeration. We have all this stuff. And for me, I've been taking the stance personally and telling clients that if you can lay back and lay low and watch everything, like if you're a voyeur or an investigator and watch what people are saying and what they're doing, that you would have a better overall outlook. And so now, from this October 6th full moon that we have here, we'll go into, let's see if I can find the one here that's today, and here we are. We're back here now, and I think Mercury here is in Scorpio has done a lot of investigative work. And so a lot of what you're seeing out there is stuff that's come up that does during Mercury retrogrades, but it has a Pluto influence. And it definitely has all these other outer body influences now. But I still think we don't know the whole story. And if those who are really calculative and smart, they won't show their cards. They won't. And for those who have, in the last couple of weeks, you either had to do it or you thought you knew and you thought you had a one-up on some situation or knew everything. I think you don't have it all. And I think you are learning the hard way. And I think people are here. We go back to the government shutdown that happened where we had 11 or 12 Democrats that went away from the party and agreed to do the thing to bring back the government with the promise from the Republican Party that 40 days later, which is going to be mid-December, by the way, right around when Mercury comes back to a certain place, whether they're going to really vote on this healthcare part of it and the promises of all that. This was agreed upon during Mercury stationary point. these places. So for me, I'm looking at something and I'm looking at people panicking. And I'm looking at, as an example, of people making decisions because they got all caught up in the rhetoric, right? So instead of like really being stubborn, focused, mysterious, investigative, chess playing Mercury or scorpionic, playing field. So people think they know, but they don't, is what I'm saying to you. So I'll look at chat here in a second. So for me, I just wanted to give a little bit of that. And here we are to this point. When we get later into the week here on Saturday, and I'll pull up the charts, that's when you're going to see Mercury go all the way back and then try and basically trying to connect with Jupiter and trying to connect with Saturn within 24 hours, and which is great. This will be the second time this is happening, and then it's going to do it again. So for me, I'm still going to tell you, with Mars being in Sag, Mercury started off there, that I think there's this feeling of having to do it all now. And for the true chess players out there, they're not showing everything, okay? So let me do something else here, because it is a different game for me of how I'm doing this stream. I want to check in and say, hey, Lillian's here eating ramen, drinking beer. That's a perfect combo. Welcome. Cosmic Rose, I think I said that. Welcome to you. Strings of Apollo, good to see you there. Purple Algeria 7, hello. Okay, so saying that, I in particular have been laying low and having to do some transitions and doing my own investigative work, and I have been very grounded in that place, and trying not to get roped in to situations, scenarios where there are manipulative, out of control energies, right? So for me in particular, that's the outlook that I'm taking and where I'm staying. And I feel pretty good about it, and I feel pretty good about this lunation in general with that. Now, let me talk about something else that I think is bigger with all of this, right? Because we could talk about the aspects of what Mercury does and pinpoints its private and its focus and do all that, right? And it has the magnifying glass. And I've talked about this on my monthly forecast for my paid members, all that kind of stuff. This particular time, when you have a planet, you have, and let me bring up the chart just so this makes sense before I go there. And I know some of you know this already, but look, we have Neptune's retrograde right now. Saturn is at 25 degrees for a while now, retrograde. It's about to station forward here very soon. Uranus is retrograde. Jupiter is retrograde. Obviously, Mercury is. Okay? So now that we got that scenario, we know this. We have a 14-year cycle that we're ending with Neptune and Pisces right now. And I think it's one of the subconscious focal points of the new moon. We are processing, whether we're acknowledging it or not, 14 years of Neptune and Pisces and all the aspects, the whole story that's done in the Pisces part of your chart. Remember there was a Jupiter transit that happened through there. We have a Saturn transit, Saturn Neptune. It's something that it's so big and wide scale, and when we're dealing with Neptune and Pisces, we still don't know the effects of this transit. I think, though, with Mercury and Scorpio retrograde and going through the heart of the sun and doing these grand water trines, Mercury is, that I think you do know. I think people can actually use the Mercury and Scorpio type of focus and understand the Neptune transit the best that they can. And I would look to the Pisces part of your chart these days. I'm like, well, what the hell did happen there in my life the last 14 years? With other transits that have come through, Jupiter transit that happened through there. You remember all this stuff? The Jupiter transit. And then you have a Saturn transit that's not done in Pisces. So before we get into next year and we enter this portal that we're walked through that's completely new and it's fire and air, I think we first have to come to a place of meditation and observance with Neptune and Pisces. What the hell did happen last 14 years, like socially? If you think about this, is as if we were a pool, we were all one, whether it's the internet or in the physical universe, ever. So much has happened that what do you take from that? What is real from all of that? And I feel that there's been a lot of illusionary technology. I feel that we have created our separate little bubbles and worlds, for better or worse. And I think we're seeing the challenging byproduct of it right now. I feel that what we project onto the world, or how we want people to see us, has been completely altered. And I think some of us know what that is, are in control of that costuming and the way of projecting or being projected upon. But I think most of people and societies and all that aren't. And I think it's wild and been boundaryless at this point. And so for me, I am looking forward to a Saturn-Neptune conjunction that's going to happen in February in Aries, because I think it gives it a certain type of clarity and form. And since it's going to be in Aries, it's going to be Mars-driven, not Jupiter-driven, right? I think we've had enough of this. Now, I think this time right now, that Jupiter being in Cancer is pretty much the planet, the focal planet of everything here, especially with the lunation. Let's just point out that Jupiter rules right now Mars in Sagittarius, which rules all the scorpionic stuff, right? Jupiter rules the eclipses, in a sense, of North Node, Saturn, Neptune. You know, so Jupiter at this point, I think, is, even though it started to go retrograde, I think it's in a way we can slow down the Jupiterian type of movement it's been doing in Cancer and try to corral it together. And it's doing it with Saturn, and it's doing it with Neptune. And Mercury in this lunation is really helping it out, in my mind. The best that one can do when you're trying to define water, or at least find the containers for emotional water narratives, right? So for me, I'm welcoming this lunation for that reason. Yeah, is the current circumstances with votes and product launches and Mercury retrogrades and servers going down. Do you know the Azure servers, the Microsoft servers, and some of the stuff on the back end? That's been crashing for the last 3 months. They've been getting massive attacks, DDoS attacks. They're not admitting it. They sort of admitted it in the last 24 hours. But you know that system is what Alaska Airlines uses for their whole system, and other airlines. Alaska's had their whole system, IT system, go down 3 times in the last 4 months. This isn't just some out of the blue thing. There's something else going on behind there. You take what you want for something like that. Those are the immediate things. For me, I'm feeling and thinking of the bigger story here with Neptune, just to start off with. So for me, telling you here, if you can sit on this Neptunian situation here and the water parts of your chart here for the next couple of weeks, you do the grand water trine, I think in a way you could help finish out the story for a Neptune and Pisces transit in your chart. You just so happen to have a Saturn transit in Pisces to help you do this. At the moment when you look on the screen right now, we are in complete past memory because of Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune being retrograde, and Mercury. We are in complete backtracking. And I think having to come to terms to what's happened. Now, if you bring up the last 2.5 years of a Saturn and Pisces transit, you're doing that too. The Pisces part of your chart is very important right now. And when earlier, myself and many other astrologers for the year, when we were doing forecasts, we were talking about how it was a transitional year, how things would go from 2 steps forward to 1 step back. Now, when we were February, March, April, we did the eclipses. Everything was in Pisces. Then everything went into Aries. We were doing that thing where we went into Aries. Mercury did Venus in Aries during eclipses, and it went back and it had to go back into Pisces again. So we were crossing the threshold of 29 Pisces, 0 degrees Aries, right? Doing this thing. We're back in the place now again. So, you know, I think whether people know it or not, or they pay attention to astrology or not, we are in this deep emotional past place. Jupiter in Cancer is asking us to look back in the past and our memories and how we deal with where we come from and our lineages and everything, that the rules and the things that come up, community comes up with for the rules that we're supposed to abide by, and that whole Cancer Capricorn axis. We have Pluto and Capricorn from 2008 there, right? All this stuff, right? We just ended that massive transit. That's even in the game in my mind because of Jupiter being in Cancer. All these massive cycles are coming to a place right now here this month, the next couple months, right? So again, those are thoughts I have. I think this particular lunation is bigger than just the Mercury retrograde. I think Mercury and Scorpio here this week ties the last, 14, 15, maybe so many years that's happened here. So if you can work with it that way and look at it that way and look at the bigger picture of it, maybe it can let off a little bit of stress, as in the immediacy of things, and how a Mercury-Mars conjunction in Sagittarius last week seemed to make everything blowvate, just huge, whatever. And I'm like, that's not it. They think it's the big picture. Mars and Sagittarius, Mercury, Sagittarius think that's the big picture. Actually, no, the big picture is the past. It's the past right now. That's the big picture. The other big picture that everybody wants and wants to run to all of a sudden or waiting upon, that doesn't happen yet. That's not going to happen yet. That's for later. You're missing the secret. You're missing the secrets if you don't go look underneath where the water is right now. And that's where Mercury and Scorpio helps you. They know how to navigate this. And they get to do it with Neptune, and you get to do it with Uranus and cracking shit open, all that kind of stuff. So I'll get to the chat here in a second. I want to point that out. So give me a second here. We don't want to forget. Oh yeah, I don't want to forget this here if you need a little bit of help, because Mars is squaring the eclipse story here, right? So those eclipse people right now, this is a major deal, Mars being in Sag here, what it does for you. If you're one of these eclipse affected people this year. In the background though, let's give it up though for Venus and Scorpio. Because if you're one of these eclipse people, this is where you go, because it is making a sextile and a trine to the North Node too. So if you're one of these people, you go to the Scorpio realm, use Venus to do it. Now, Venus and Scorpio is a one-on-one situation there, and it doesn't mess around, or when it's solo, it protects itself, and it will protect intimacy and trust. In order to get intimacy, you need trust. So you go to the place where you trust. You know who else likes to be trusted and trusted place? Jupiter and Cancer. They're functioning on a different form of a container of safety and security. Okay, so again, that's where you go if you're having a hard time right now. You go to these places. Triple conjunction on the 20th here. Let's just start to go, and I'll get into chat for a second. These are bigger thoughts that I've had about this particular week. I'll go to Thursday here. As a matter of fact, I'll pull it up like this. Hey, I see MC here in chat. I see MC in chat, and Astro 7, listen to Massive Attack. That's interesting. Which Massive Attack? So saying that, give me a second here. I need to get this chat screen in order so I don't miss people. Did I miss anybody in here? A is in here. What's up, A? I see you. So let's actually take a look at the Sun conjunct Mercury situation that's happened. We're building up here, and you're going to see here on my end, it's 1:23 a.m. This is going to happen here very soon, day and a half or something like that, 2 days. You see here Mercury at 28 degrees here. That's where the lunation is. So we got this new moon that doesn't end in one moment tonight. It goes, and it's hugely influential all week, and it will be for the next couple weeks when Mercury's going to come back to this place, right? It's going to come back. So it's like this new moon signature is like for weeks, you know. So anyway, let's just point that out. Here is where we have the conjunction that happens, and this is the midpoint of the Mercury retrograde cycle that we're having pretty much here coming up. And we also want to point out here in this chart that, hey, in the background, setting up ourselves for next year is a Uranus, Neptune, sextile. Okay, so here we have water and earth coming together, and I think they're helping to finish off the story here that's happened for a 7 to 8 year transit with Uranus Taurus, and obviously the 14-year transit of Neptune and Pisces. Again, the Neptune and Pisces thing, I think we need to get through this damn transit. Right now, I like it because of what we have to clean up and come to terms with. You know, and let's not forget, you ever been around anybody that has Pisces, major Pisces stuff in their chart? Like, if you've ever hung around, had to interact with somebody that way, and I'm not saying for a couple hours, I'm saying for a certain period of time where you've seen pretty much every single shade of color within a week emotionally from them, or like they from laughter to tears to joy to anger to everything that that could happen in life happens to a Pisces. Like, they live it and feel it. And if you are around them, you're influencing this, by the way, because they are absorbing what you're feeling. So if they could be their version of grounded, and you walk into the room and you're in a pissed off mood, you walk into the room, might say anything, they're going to end up pissed off, or they're going to end up like, something's off, because they basically, even if you didn't say shit, they're basically absorbing you. They're absorbing situations and environments, okay? So it's constantly mutable and it's constantly changing. So you imagine something like this, where you get to a point of the last degrees of 29 Pisces, and the knowledge that's happened over 14 years on a subconscious level, and the whole collective and everything that's been felt and moved and everything. And if you think about it, feel it in this way, you realize how effing huge it is. But at the end, for me, you come to the conclusion of like, does it even matter? Does it even matter the waves of emotions and stuff that we find ourselves surfing on personally, or whatever, or if you happen to be around a Piscean person? Because in the moment, it's everything. But in the bigger schemes of things, it's nothing. It's a drop in the magnificent, infinite pool of life. So how do you understand it? How do you stand in it? How do you come to terms with something like that? And I think coming to terms with it, it's where we're at here astrologically. Now, part of this, and I'm not dissing on Piscean people here, because you know I like to diss on Libras. I'm not going to diss on them right now, but for fun. But so saying this, it's not about that. I also feel that if the internet and what has become, like, we think about the internet for the last 14 years, and all the transits that encompass a Pluto and Capricorn transit, a Jupiter-Saturn conjunction that happened at 0 degrees Aquarius, whatever eclipses, whatever transits you want to think. But if you think about it from the bigger point of view, if what you have seen on the internet, if you, for this moment watching with me, and I'm going to be quiet for 10 seconds. And so before we do this for 10 seconds, I'm going to tell myself, and you could try this too, I'm going to try to compass everything that's happened in the last 14 years in 10 seconds. And I'm going to try to feel what comes at me, okay? So I'm going to start in a second here. Whatever happens to you, you can put it in chat, okay? You ready? 10 seconds. Now. Does it even matter? Like, what the hell just happened for the last 14 years? What came up for me just doing that was thinking about the internet, everything that's been posted, all the news, all the politics, all the whatever. And unfortunately for me, right at this moment, I feel that it's been more darker memory and projected stories, literally. Avatars, personas, influencers, the abuse of breaking news. It used to be where there would be breaking news, and it would really meant breaking news. Now it's breaking news. So on celebrities' heel broke on the fucking red carpet or some shit, right? So for me in 10 seconds, I was like, what the hell just happened in a collective level? And I cannot help but think about what the internet has been. And what is it? Has it been one clusterfuck of everything and mostly it's just shit, honestly? Like, I mean, I only gave myself 10 seconds. I only give yourself 10 seconds to try to feel what's happened as a collective level for 14 years. And for me, the internet came up and it was mostly trashier in the end. If you would have caught me 7 years ago, maybe I would have said something different. But right now, I'm not feeling it. And I'm like, so for me, I'm like, DMs, backstabbing, jealousy, fake profiles, influencers, AI, what? This is what we were doing and we get up to this point? Is that who we are? Is that what we want to be? I don't feel particularly good about it. I can laugh about it right now because I'm seeing the farce of it all. So like what, for me, that's just something I have to feel to come to terms with in my chart. Or for me as a person on the internet that's talking to you here through YouTube on a live, I'm thankful for it, but is it an illusion? Do I change my name? Do I go on Instagram and talk really close to the camera and talk really loud? Have you noticed that the biggest astrological influencers on TikTok and Instagram jump hoops and play games on the camera, which should tell you if they, with the thousands of followers that they have to play that game, it means that you or anybody else trying to get into the game, what chance do you have? That means you have to do what they're doing, and they already have the numbers and the people and the income and the money, and that's what they have to do. Is that for the last 14 years of astrological presence on the internet or as a collective and as a community, this is where we ended up as? Is this where we're at? Now, if I think about it in another way, the amount of research, the amount of information in a great way that has been made available for all of us, whether it's astrology or tarot or the occult or sigils, I mean, it's amazing, but it's almost where you have to spend so much time sifting through to get to that place, and most of the time that you're spending is maneuvering one of the biggest parts of the Neptune and Pisces transits I can think of. You have to maneuver distraction. The way you distract yourself, or what has been coming at your way to distract you, to get you to buy something, to get you to focus on this, to get you to buy the course, to get you to do the sit-ups, to get you to do the supplement, to get you to whatever. And so the thing that we're using to find knowledge, to find meaning in the bigger scheme of things is mostly a distraction. And so for someone to go through at this point and to look, to understand as a collective what we've done, I'm going to say I'm grading it a C- to a D, with the potential of raising the grade. If it was 7 years ago, I'd say B. So for me on this rant, for this new moon thing, I want you to think bigger. I want you to use Mercury and Scorpio discernment to eliminate the shit and the distraction. If you ever in a scorpionic situation where you use that power, the whole point is no distraction and a hyper obsessive focus on the end goal to the depths of whatever it is. And a lot of times when you walk into the Scorpion path is when fear and darkness, a certain type of shadow work comes up and you don't have the tools to do it and it's freaked out. And many people will walk away or find something to distract themselves from walking through it. And the Scorpionic power, when it is focused, will not distract itself. It will walk through it, and it will not run through it. It will not run through it hiding and protecting itself. It will, but it will have the right tools to walk at a steady, certain pace through it, so it can, even in the hardest part, in the most darkest part of it that you absorb all the information there and hyper focus on the details and the wisdom in even those places, right? So it isn't a distraction. It's a hyper focusedness that brings you a type of knowledge that is inherent at the core of life, that you cannot ignore things. You cannot ignore certain truths. We can distract ourselves from it, right? We can distract ourselves from the truth. We can find any number of ways, like we have for the last 14 years and what has been given to us massively by corporations and whatever they're doing and the formulas and all the effing hoops that some astrologers watching right now need to do to pay their bills. You, the astrologer that jumped in pre-COVID and during COVID that's like, I'm going to be an astrologer. Good for you. I'm glad you found something that gave you meaning during COVID. But now you're realizing that the dream that you've wanted to do, the thing that you want to do, that there's so many people doing it, some that respect the game, some that don't even know the game, whatever, that you're like, can this be this? Can I become an astrologer? And what I'm going to tell you from a Mercury and Scorpionic point of view is the economics are not there for you. They will not be there for you in the next couple of years. And if you're going to do it, you better have the reality setting them in. And don't quit your day job. Because, like I mentioned earlier, those big YouTubers and TikTokers and the Instagram reels that you see with the tons of followers, they're either really good at using gimmicks and memes, or they're really good astrologers, but they're still up in the camera playing the game. And if that tells you, that should tell you that everyone's scraping for cash, okay? So this comes back to something else. I'm using this example as astrologers or people studying right now. You come back to the place. If you're going to walk in the Scorpionic underworld right now and use it part of a grand water trine to see what it's been for you in a bigger scale of things for the last 14 years, and what does it all mean, because you're all seeking meaning just like I am, is to review what means most to you. Why would you go look at a chart or go buy that book or go take that course? What was it in the beginning that inspired you with astrology or whatever else modality that just rocked your world and there was nothing else but that, and you unlocked unseen things, parts of yourself, and you found it reflected from the outside world or from a book that someone wrote or a course, or it was the way someone wrote a certain piece on some planetary signature that you have. Whatever it is, you made the connection, right? What was it back then that seemed to be of the most importance to you? That was it when you unlocked that part of yourself from an astrological way and knowledge or book or whatever it was the first thing you thought of is, I'm going to capitalize on this. I'm going to make money on this. I'm going to become known and I'm going to get all the followers. I can't wait. Was it really that? I'll bet you 5 to 10% maybe. They didn't even think about it. They thought about how they could capitalize on it. But mostly everybody else, it was something profound. Now that's the other part of Neptune and Pisces, isn't it? Is the profoundness. So can me, myself, you out there watching whatever, when we're doing grand water trines and Jupiter and Cancer going to the past and finish up a Neptune and Saturn story in Pisces, and Uranus is in on this lunation just kind of showing one more thing, and the Taurus parties are trying to crack something over, one more something of worth and value. Like, what did just happen? What is it? For me, the last couple of weeks, all that's on my mind is, why am I doing this? What happened to me the last 14 years? And I'm being specific, like as I am as a spiritual person, to stay on the Neptune and Pisces trip, right? It's like, who am I in this? Why? And all the side tangential transits, the things I got caught up in the astrology world, behind the scenes, the gossip, the drama, the blah, blah, blah. Is that why I started this? Is that why in the 90s in the bookstore somewhere, and I opened up a book by Isabel Hickey and the Cosmic Science, and I was like looking at it and the profoundness that happened to me in a bookstore at 1:30 in the morning while they were playing punk rock music back then in the thing, and I just had my whole world rocked? And I was like, wait a second. It wasn't because to do this, like, it was something else. The search for something else, like in me, or with people that I love and feeling. And it wasn't just in books, it was with music, with everything. Everything. Neptune and Pisces, everything, the profoundness. So that is what I'm in meditating on. And the distraction out there, I know you got to try to stay up on politics and everything else, and then people are going to guilt trip you on something, and they're going to say a post, you're not doing enough or whatever. It's like, well, that's their own thing, their own game. What's your game? Like, what is it? So on a grand water trine situation that we're having, an illumination like a new moon in Scorpio that's tied into all this and everything else with Mercury there, you get to be hyper-focused in an emotional way. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what other people say and do and how they're influencing you. What matters is what has meaning to you. And if you want to pick the 14 years of a Neptune Pisces transit, you want to pick 2.5 years of a Saturn and Pisces transit, or you're a Taurus person that had Uranus in your world for 7-8 years, what's the meaning behind it? So I have a feeling that you know what it is. And if you sort of taste it, it's there. It's in you. You soaked it up. The grand water trine next couple of weeks, this lunation, is a chance for you to go look at it. And it's yours and yours alone. And you do it like a Scorpio would do it. You're going to go hide out somewhere else. You're not going to see them. I'm not going to go make a post about the top 5 things that Scorpio does this or whatever. And it's all bullshit. You wouldn't be here on this channel or running around seeking and doing astrology stuff if you didn't want to go deep. It's not about a love-making match or what sign gets along with the other sign. If you're with me here, you understand what I'm saying, then you know you have a responsibility to yourself. And you can remember the joy in cracking something open or getting the door of meaning opening up to you. If I were to take it a step further, when we get into next year, and Neptune goes in the Aries, and Saturn goes in the Aries, then you have a role to play outwardly, out there. Whether it's on the internet, or in your neighborhood, or whatever else, that is waiting for you. It's waiting for all of us. And it's when we'll have to fight, and we're going to have to learn how to do it. But before we do it, you have to know where you stand and come to terms with the past. Right? You have to know that. You have to have that. You have to know what you're going to carry, what you're going to let go with during here when we deal with watery places, what we let go and what we choose to take with us. When you have this kind of stuff, when we get to next year, where then a lot of fire and a lot of air happens, that is a different type of expression. And you might as well try to understand this to know what you're carrying at those times. And when I say fight, by the way, because that's what this is coming to us, whether it's political or not, it's what you choose to fight for. It's what what a Neptune and Saturn and Aries chooses on their spiritual path of Neptune or Saturn giving form to the Neptune and Pisces and Aries vision, right? And what someone does there and how they put it together on that path, from internal to external. From a Jupiter and Leo transit that's going to help you mid next year to eclipses that are going to happen in Aquarius and Leo. All of this stuff, right, is waiting there, right? It's there. So if you need an incentive, go ahead and use it. I'm more on the passing of wrapping stuff up, right? And coming from a place that deals with meaning and profoundness, right? Listen, I'm going to judge it. If you find some profoundness in a 1-second Instagram reel, good for you. Maybe it's there. Maybe it's somewhere else. Maybe you go back to the original spot, way back when it wasn't, let's say, the reel, the newsletter thing, or the sales gimmick. It was something else. Rogue Emerge is in the chat, and thank you for being here from New Jersey. Hello, Rogue. I'm glad you made it. Who else do I got in here? Yeah, I see. I'll catch up with the chat. Patrick says, Neptune is not an administrator of enlightenment or understanding, Patrick says. It provides a hallucinatory experience that mostly deludes with the occasional seed of something useful, and everyone tends to focus on the useful. Thanks, Patrick. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. Moniz bringing up a book by Cory Doctorow called Enshittification, which is a very famous book. You can find it in the library, by the way. I have a book that I have queued up that I'm going to get, an audio book that's something different. But yeah. And yeah, well, I'll catch up with chat here. I'm reading your stuff, everyone. So saying that, I'm going to keep going, even though I went on my side tangential thing. Here's Mercury Sun. That's happening here, 1:23 a.m. On my Thursday Pacific time. I have several things in my chart that are in water and earth at 28, 29 degrees. This is a big week for me in the long run, and a big week for this channel and whatever for what is about to happen here the next year for me here, and the things I'm going to do. So saying that, we're going to mention that here, the Cazimi or the conjunction and the Cazimi that happens here on Thursday. On the 21st, since we'll go a day, I'll just go through here really quick because to get this over with, we have the 21st, we have a moment here. It's just a great, astonishing week for me, or for astrology. We have a 29-degree Scorpio Sun opposite Uranus. In Scorpio, we have a Uranus-Sun opposition that happens once a year for those with 29-degree placements. This is your week right now, okay? This is your week. And we're going back to the past, but the Scorpio Sun will have the last Uranus and Taurus opposition that we'll have. So we're going to be alive, basically. It happens this week. We're building up to it. It's actually part of the new moon that will happen later on tonight while I do this live stream, okay? So that happens here. I wrote here, the Sun reminds Uranus about sudden, or Uranus reminds the Sun, vice versa, of sudden scenarios. Look to Mercury. This week, I wrote in my notes for my forecast, Scorpio has a restless moment at the end of its birthdays here with Uranus here this week, and then will explode out of there, basically. Sun will trine Neptune. Later on in the day, you could see that Neptune is in on the game, and you could see why I bring up a Neptune story in the end here, because of what it's doing in the background. And so we have Sun trine Neptune with Uranus, and the Scorpios out there. Scorpio risings, planets, and Scorpios. Get a hold of me. Even if Scorpio birthdays last week, if you get a reading with me, for those who are members, I have my discount code. I forget what it is. I can post it again. Ask me for it. If you're not and you want to do payment plans, there's someone out there, please be respectful of me and ask me in the right way, like on email and the copy. I'd love to talk to you, Scorpios. I think this is a great month for you. We've been waiting for transits like this to happen to you. Even though if it's a Mercury retrograde and it might seem off, I'm telling you, this is a lot better than having eclipses in your sign that we had to deal with before, okay? So hit me up if you need to do that. That's what's up. At 5:35 here on the next day, it won't say here, but 5:35 p.m., or that day, actually. Let me go back and I'll move it up here just to go through the week. I didn't even see how many people are watching tonight on a little late night stream for some of you. At 5:35 p.m., I'll pick 6:23 here just to go through here. We then have the Sun enter 0 degrees Sagittarius to start off the Sagittarian birthdays, which all of you are in an interesting spot here because of a Mercury retrograde that started in your sign and will eventually come back. You do have Mars in your sign. For those, some of you are going to have solar returns here in the beginning of your transit with Mars in Sagittarius, with Jupiter in Cancer as your guiding story here for your solar returns. Very interesting predicament, I would say. All of this here, you're obviously welcome to hit up and get a session with me, and we could talk away like I do with my Sagittariuses. We have a tendency to talk and lay it all on the table and then just all of a sudden be done and walk away from each other. So that happens. Philosophical, new vision, outlook, bold and optimistic is Sagittarius, but it is dealing with a retrograde Mercury situation. On the 22nd here is when I want to get to, because this is where Mercury is working its magic this week after going through the sun and the lunation. Then we are going to go through here what we build up in the week. I'll just put this on screen, but it's going to be at 10:45 a.m. that retrograde Mercury in Scorpio is going to trine Saturn in Pisces for its second time here in the recent times, and we'll do it again very soon after this. This is a mercurial week, and take advantage of this. It doesn't mean you take action per se. It means you're hiding out in the background doing scorpionic stuff, water stuff with Pisces, whatever. It's creative, it's internal, right? It's an internal container, and it's a private container. But there's so much within there that I think can be a clear and concise, deep, and possibly profound. And so you have this trine that's going to happen. It's the second one. The last time Mercury trined Saturn, when Mercury was in Scorpio, was October 25th, just so you know. Okay, so there's that. Then we keep going here because later on, it's like at 3:37 p.m. during the day. I'll bust a move there, and I'll look at chat here in a second. I'll get to that. And I think I have to acknowledge a super chat that came in. I didn't see there because I saw something earlier. I'm going to get to that. I don't want to forget this. So 3:37, is it? Did I already pass it? Yeah, I'll go back here. I don't know why I did it. I'll do this one. Here we have then Mercury here at 24 degrees, and you can see it's pretty much very soon after that. What did I have? 10:45 a.m. Mercury trines Saturn. It's at 3:37 p.m. that Mercury also trines Jupiter in Cancer, and hence we have a major situation here where we have a big chapter in the grand water trine story that's happening here, and a Mercury fresh out of moving through the sun and the lunation and all that stuff. Even Neptune, when at a trine with Neptune, is having the situation going on here. And forget about the rest of what you see on the screen here in the transits. Okay? We have, I feel, a clear moment this week. I think Mercury brings clarity, and it has the help of the sun and a couple other planets to find clarity and discernment, and it could be your little secret, right? It's a secret. You hold it close. Hold it close. And if you need a secret to hold close, you make one up. You find it. You find it and be real clear with it. Okay? You get to make some dream wishes in some ways here. I don't think it's fabricated. I don't think a Neptune and Saturnian influence. I think it's there, and I think Jupiter's there too. I think a Mercury, the way it's moving and what it just has done, I like this. It's strong for me. So I don't make elections based on what I'm saying. I don't really give a shit about that stuff. I'm more concerned about the bigger picture of what I've been talking about earlier on this stream. You know, so. This is the moment that we have here that's coming up. Sun will Sun, by the way, in all this, just to do it, that recently ingressed Sun, where are you here? At 0 degrees, you know, we're getting towards a sextile position with Pluto. A little bit of air and fire, a showcase of next year, but it's mostly water, my friends, it's water. Cannot help, and we're gonna do this in a different way. Let me do something here. I'm going to go blank, as in on a chart, and let us bring up something here, because we're going to make a node here. Where are the nodes? Here now the nodes are at 14, and you can see Mars here, and the official square that's about to happen here. We have a T-square that's going to happen. Now, from a mundane level, world political level, this is what we have to watch out for. There's all the other stuff that we talked about personally, but for me, from a world political level, regardless of political story you could talk about, is Mars at the bending squaring the nodes here. This is where stuff gets set off. So I'm just going to say that. I'm not here to make political predictions precisely or whatever. I care about things politically, and at the same time, I have to care about my own world and do my own things. I can give a fuck about what anybody else says about whatever. I know your own world. Pretty much know your own world, know what you can and cannot do, and don't let anything or any situation throw you off from the water parts of things, okay? And if you have to drift towards water parts of the chart while everything is getting set off, fine, go do it. You're not being a bad person because you're not doing something. You know, I think the best one can do is to take care of themselves first and foremost. It's the haters. It's the haters out there. They're the ones throwing the wrenches because they're not happy. So they got to go mess with and can't stay in their own lane. So they got to go mess with somebody else's lane. Or when it comes to debate on the, on the internet and stuff, some people just, you could debate, you could do something, you could talk a little bit of something. But there's other situations out there where that's all that it is for somebody or for a group of people. Hence the situations we have out there. Anyway, we got a Mars in Sagittarius here pushing a story here. And it's a Jupiterian story in a lot of ways, isn't it? Because the nodes are getting triggered. It's a Jupiter-Mercury story. I'd stay on the Mercury side of things if we were to do anything here. Anyway, that's what happens here. Eclipse story moves forward chapter at 5:32 a.m. here on the 24th. I don't know why I have the 22nd up here, but I'll go forward to do it, okay? I'll make it so we're waxing there. I'll just go with the 24th. We also have, and is it happy? Yeah, I hit it just right. And you could see here when we get into Monday, another massive Mercury moment. And this time, Mercury gets to touch Venus. And it's here that there is a one-on-one conversation that happens. And Mercury checks in with Venus. And Venus is moving up to Mercury. And they're like, hey, let's come over here, like, away from all this stuff. And let's have a talk. And Mercury goes to Venus. You wouldn't believe what I just been through for the last 2 weeks. I had to start in Sagittarius, and then I had to do it with Mars and Sag. And I was playing games. I was saying things on purpose to mess with people or saying this, and I thought I knew it all. Well, at least that's what I'm portraying symbolically to the rest of the world, but I didn't know it all. I had to go backwards, and I had to go through everything, and I had to touch all these planets again, these water planets for the second time. And hey, it's good to see you, and damn, you look good in black. Venus and Scorpio. But here, take this little bit of knowledge. And Venus in Scorpio appreciates the secret, and that it's intimate, and it's one-on-one, and it's based on trust and loyalty. All you got to do is go over to my Instagram profile, and you go read what I have in my profile. It'll say I'm an astrologer, it'll have some flags or Greek and Ecuadorian and stuff, but you'll see the real words over there that I've never faltered from. Even when I had a blogger account 14 years ago? More? I've always said it. Truth, honor, loyalty, love. That's my code. That's the conversation I'm already having with myself with Venus. Mercury, that's the conversation I know that I can only have with certain people in my life who understand that. They know that they get that when I walk through the door. The others, they think they know. They don't deserve it. The rest of the world, I give pieces. I do my best. The conversation that Venus and Mercury have here is very important. It'll be very important later on. And I'm going to show you, well, we'll go take a look here, but I wanted to say that that happens at 5:51 p.m. here. And I said there's sexy talk and or brutal truth or both. Maybe brutal truth is sexy talk. An intimate private talk, I wrote. And on the 26th next week, we're going to have Venus trine Jupiter. I won't go that far because basically now, if you're looking at this, Venus basically is going to do the route of Mercury and eventually, right, trine Saturn and Jupiter and Neptune and sextile, no, we're going to do a Venus-Uranus opposition that's going to happen. We have Venus that's sextiling the nodes. So Venus is a little secret planet here coming up, right? And we know here too, I will also put it here to here, I'll go a couple days, that even if on the 22nd, we're looking at Venus at 20 degrees, which is hitting the spot Mercury, we'll go all the way back to. Just make a note of this, important degrees that are happening there. That's what's up. I'm going to stop there. I talk about this on my monthly forecast for my YouTube channel members. You can join and do that. I haven't changed the price yet, by the way. They're taking 30%. The best way someone can help me out right now is going to Patreon, unless I bump the prices up for the YouTube. But I feel weird about doing that. Whatever. Just so you know, that's some of my thoughts that I've been thinking about and how I was high in the sky the other day thinking about. And I am looking here. Is it the 24th here is Venus Mercury conjunction. Mercury's retrograde at 22 degrees. The next one is here on January 29th, where Mercury and Venus will meet up again at 14 degrees Scorpio. Just going to note this right here, okay? We're going to note this movement. What a January, end of January is coming. You see this? They're all moving through Pluto, by the way. We're going to have a Pluto situation coming up beginning of the year. So there's that. I want to show you something else. Is it basically, I think it's in January. If I go back through the days, let me see. There it is. That's it. It's here. It's right around here, and it's January 18th where you're looking at Mercury catching up finally, and you see its conjunction with Mars again after it first did a conjunction with Mars in Scorpio, then did one at the very beginning of the Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius, and then Mercury and Mars meet up again at a very important situation in Capricorn that's going to happen here that week, and you'll see Mercury do the other conjunction with the Sun around that time, and that's what I wanted to mention to you all. All right, so saying that, I'll look at chat. I've been talking for an hour and 12 minutes. I'm hungry. So Rogue says there's Scorpio riser. I love my Scorpio risers. Be nice to me though. Don't mess with me. I'm here for you all. Don't play games with me. I know you do it on purpose sometimes to see what I'm going to do. Well, you know what I'm going to do. I know exactly what to do with you all, actually. That's what's up. All right. That's my thing. All right, I'm going to talk about a couple things before I leave. Where's my browser? Where is my browser? First and foremost, I use Astro Gold on this channel. I'm an affiliate member of Astro Gold. If you're interested and you're a Mac user on doing this, you can use my code SPARKLES15. You'll get a discount on the software, right? There's links here. You know how to book a session with me, all that. Newsletter changes coming up. I'm doing some behind the scenes stuff here with all Mercury retrograde stuff here, with working on a new website page, a one page off. There's a couple other things that's happening. The other thing I want to show you is here, if you don't know, earlier in the couple days ago, my members, I put up a video interview with an amazing,
hello.
Oh, geez, that's loud. Here with Lyndall Walker, who is an incredible astrologer and artist based in Melbourne. also lives in Berlin, back and forth. I met Lyndall at the ESAR conference 2022, where she handed me some crazy cards, artistic cards. Like, what is this? And I found out who she was when I was earlier, and was in Sydney earlier in August. I went to go see her exhibit, which was incredible, and then did an interview with her a couple days later in Melbourne. And here is the interview. I'll put the link in chat. Go have a look at it. It's just me being funny on the street here of Melbourne, and we had dinner and dessert, and we talked, and there's links about her work, and she put out this whole retrospective book of her art since the early 90s till now, and it's called Venus Saturn. It's an incredible book, and there's actually an essay there from Australian astrologer Brian Clark in there talking about Venus Saturn. Very well done. I had a great time talking with her, and a little different from my other 3 questions interviews. Check it out. I'll put the link in the comments. There's that. Also watch the other interviews if you haven't seen them. The next one that's coming up is going to be a little surprise from somebody else in Melbourne too. I have to edit those in the next week. My YouTube members and my Patreon members are going to get that one. I think you're going to enjoy this one. It's pretty funny how we did the interview. It was also kind of on the street and somewhere else. And then after that, I have one more Australian interview that was a joy to do, and that will come up to the week after. Okay, so there's that. My Patreon members and YouTube members, I think this weekend on Saturday, Sunday, I'm going to open up the Zoom room. You guys are going to get a message on this, okay? So what else did I want to say to you? Let me do this. Hey, I work for this conference, the Northwest Astrological Conference in Seattle next Memorial Day weekend. If you're thinking about going, it's a great time to get some of the cheaper rates before the rates change next year. You can also watch this online. Now, this is very important for some of you watching. There's a reason why I'm bringing this up, and it has to do with the scholarships. And usually the scholarships to apply for this conference, the diversity scholarships and the virtual scholarship applications, happen in January and February, but it's different this year. They're already in the application phase. So if you are there, here's the form on the website for the diversity scholarships. There's a committee there. Sam Reynolds is part of the committee. There's all these people where they take in the essays and they take it in and they do it. It's happening right now. 15 full person registrations are provided. There's a whole form and an essay on all this stuff, and the deadline to submit this stuff is January 15th. Here's the virtual scholarship application. There's 20 of these things, full and partial. You got to write something about it. These are all under the scholarships tab. If you know of anybody that would be interested in all this too, please let them know. These qualified applicants who may be physically challenged, a member of a historically marginalized ethnic, gender, and sexual minority, or over the age of 60, or an intersection of any of the above may apply. In-person attendee applicants must reside in the US, Canada, Mexico. The virtual ones can be from anywhere in the world. There you go. Sam Reynolds, if you go look on his website or whatever, he had some tutorials like of what you can't half-ass these applications. Like if you're one of these people and you really mean it, go for it. But you got to mean it. You got to write down your story here, and there's a committee that picks. And so I want to let everybody know because it's happening earlier this year. It's a benefit to the community. If you're interested, there's the links there. Watertrine Mystic saying they're going to the NORAC for their very first time. Got the early bird rate. Good to see. We're going to see you there, Watertrine Mystic. Congratulations. Gwenna's here, by the way, and I do agree, Gwenna, that there needs to be a buy me a taco button. I totally agree with you on that. So saying that, I wanted to mention this stuff for those out there. What else did I want to mention? Okay, here I'll mention this. You're going to see on the front page of my YouTube that I recently did a forecast video right here for the CAP ESAR channel, which is the educational wing of ESAR. They do counseling skills, ethics skills training. They also started a YouTube channel. I did a November forecast with Ashwin, who is, I got to get your last name right, brother, because I know you're watching. We did for the first time a November forecast. You can watch it for free. We're going to do a December one coming up in a different way. I'll be doing that with Ashwin. And there's a couple other surprises that are coming there on that channel. If you feel free to subscribe to this Cat Art channel, because basically I am trying to build the channel. I'll put it here in the chat. Please hit the subscribe button. You could see all the videos up there. You could check out the one we just put up with Stormy Grace here about astrology as a business. You should watch it. It's a really good one. You can also see past ones too here, these videos that Ashwin's doing these great interviews with S.J. Anderson, Gray Crawford. There's a two-parter there. Sam Reynolds, this one's a very interesting one to watch right here. With Sam, he's very frank and honest here about certification, competence, and the orgs and all this stuff and what's happening. You could check that out on the Cap Art channel. That is something I'm involved in behind the scenes. What else? I think that's it. And I have to get to who's donated on this channel. Steffi G did earlier. I saw another one here. What is going on right here? Mani, thank you for the super chat. Your work is so important. Thank you, Mani, for the kind words. I appreciate the donation, and most importantly, I appreciate your words. Thank you for that. Laura says she married a Pisces. By the way, I just saw this. That's funny. So you're in a fishbowl. You're swimming around in a fishbowl. So Saturn conjunct Sun in the fourth. I'm just seeing these. Susie, I'm an emotional sponge too with Neptune in my first. Saturn. I'm just realizing I lost Pisces and Neptunian people here. John's here. Hey, John, I didn't see you in the chat, buddy. John's with a 29 Scorpio Sun. That's funny. Patrick, we got to talk soon, buddy, because I'm in town for a little bit, and in December. Let me get to and Ray, thank you with a donation. Ray, down under. Beautiful country and huge piece of land that is Australia. Thank you, Ray, for the donation and for helping me out. And thank you, everybody, for watching and listening to me. I was like, what am I going to say on the stream? I was like, what the hell was I going to say? And part of me was like, do I come full force? Do I spit fire? It's like, nah, that's for something else coming down the line. I thought maybe here, since I'm in transit, and what happens to me and my brain, and someone who's got 29-degree planets and affected by it, a lot of these transits and this lunation, what do I say? And I was like, I want to talk about it from a Neptune and Piscean way, a bigger way, and that's what I'm feeling. And there's always a story to catch, and there's always, there's a lot of good astrologers out there sync up, and I see all this stuff. I track the news too, I kind of learned from a Rick Levine who's really tracking the news. I mean, I could talk to that guy. He's like, did you see this? And and I do it. I don't really post a lot about this kind of stuff. I could, I don't know. But for me, it's more on a bigger scale these days, and just catching up with my life and, having to live in a transitory way. And it's where I'm best a lot of the times. And the thoughts that come to me through the rain and the wind, right? Or through dinner with friends, or through a lecture that I saw last week. A shout out to William out there. I know you're not watching. And the people that I care about and I love. And my focus on that, right? And not all is perfect, but I could say right now that I'm happy. And I have a huge list of things I have to do, tasks I have to do with other projects, and my own way I beat myself up as a Saturn in the first house on how I'm not doing enough on YouTube. I should have more subscribers and all that. But I'm like, right now on this stream, I was like, who I am in the end is I try to do the best I can for the people that I love and I care about and for my clients. And you can't please everybody, right? You just can't. And there's other people for that. But I do know that I do have a crew of people like you that watch and support me, and I want to build that. But for now, I'm like, I'm good. I'm good. And I'm gonna get some food. I'm gonna go to the store and buy my favorite bread and a couple treats and do a balsamic thing, and then we'll do the new moon. In a couple days, maybe I'll have something ranticular to say while Mercury and the Sun are together. But most part, I'm just looking back to the past and wrapping up some stories and realizing I got it lucky. I say it on this channel all the time, how fortunate I am in the end. I've done a lot to help in the community, and I feel pretty good about it, and some of those things will be ending next year, and that's fine. Some other people will never be happy. That's their own story, own game. I just got to do what I got to do. And one thing about being like in my shoes as a Gemini, and some of the other things I have, is I know the story is always changing. The path always changes. And there's those that I know that I will always have my back. And then that's cool. It's nice to have that security and that loyalty. And the other part of living a certain life is knowing the new people that will come my way, whether it's on YouTube or in the physical universe. And how excited I am to deal with this water trine stuff here in the next several weeks, and knowing that I not only get to live things next year, but to talk about on the channel of an exciting year next year in the astrology land, and how I think that there is a sort of death happening in the astrology world, where the ways that we have put out our message as astrologers, we are kind of knowing what has depth and worth, and knowing what doesn't work, even though it might have been popular, but doesn't quench the meaning thirst, right? So I'm excited for myself, and I'm excited for certain astrologers that I know that feel the same way, and what we can do, whether it's on YouTube or on a lecture or in person with people, what's coming. And you get to be experimental with this. You don't have to do the formula. The formula might make you a bunch of money, and it might do those other things. But as we're seeing right now, we're realizing it's not satisfying, right? So I'm actually excited for these times of reviewing and letting go here through water trine and all that, because I know next year we enter in a creative, experimental, outward expressional phase. And that's what I meant earlier about fighting. It's what you choose to fight for and how you do it. And how I prep some of you on this channel about trusting yourself, right? Is for this, is for what we're getting to. And I'm excited to talk about that stuff here in the forecast for next year and all that, but not just talk about it. Just things that I have planned in my own personal life, in the physical world, that I don't post about and I'm private about, and really feel grounded and secure about. And meeting other people who feel the same way. So not just giving up, but being excited when it seems like all sucks. But I think that's where creativity thrives the most. When you are in a cornered situation, it seems, or sick of the situation and breaking away and breaking off from the past type of thing. So I'm excited for that. So I'm excited for you guys to be on the journey in that. And if you feel the same way in your life, in your world, in your place, with the people that you care for, look for that and share that with each other, right? So not all is lost, It's what's about to be found, right? So anyway, thank you. I see Tanya in here in chat. I just want to acknowledge it, see you, Tanya. And anybody else I didn't say, AV, good to see you here in chat too. Thanks everybody for the donations today. Obviously, I'm available for readings. You can go to sparklesofgold.com. If you haven't subscribed or hit the like button, please do that. And on that note, it's time for me to go from this strange place with a different setup. Listen, I promised purple on the next live stream, okay? There's going to be some purple. All right, y'all. On that note, have a good week, everybody. And then I'll see you on the next stream or video, okay? No music, no nothing. I don't have my stuff. There's no tarot cards. There's no book. It's just me. It's just us. That's the way to end a Neptune and Pisces thing. There's just me, and actually no, there's just us.